Waiting for people to join. Hi everyone. Hello. Good evening. Good evening. Hello all. Hi. Hi guys. Hello everyone. Good evening all. Hi guys. Hi guys. I'll just wait for 1 minute for everybody you to join and then we'll start the session. Dear runners, welcome. Welcome on our Instagram live. Hello all. Hi. Hi. Hi guys.
Disconnected.
Good evening all. Just 30 seconds more so that everyone can join and then we can start off with our first session, that is one race. Hello all. Hi guys. Good evening. Perfect. Okay, so I think we are good to start. So the agenda for this live session is to inform you guys that One Race is back with their 8th edition, and this time the theme for 2024 is Dil Ki Daud. As you all are already aware that One Race is all about inclusivity and humanity, that we guys set up this beautiful run for people to come, join, enjoy, experience, and contribute towards the communities that are a part of running, and who proves and who stands tall in order to prove the humanity and inclusivity. Hi guys. Hi. Good evening. Good to see such lovely audience joining in. Perfect. So in order to start with, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite our host. He is Mr. Harmit, and the man requires no introduction. He is the recreational runner of the community, and he has done a lot of races. He has been a part of running circuit since 2011, and the man needs no introduction. So without wasting much time, I would like to introduce him, and we'll kick it forward from here. So we have a surprise, guys. We will have Mr. Shahbaz, who is a runner who has been, Ironman, also joining us, taking the conversation ahead with Mr. Harmit and taking the flow forward. Yeah. So I'm just taking Mr. Harmit in, waiting for him to accept, and let's see. Let's wait for him to join. Yeah. Good evening, guys. Hello all. Glad to be a part. One second, guys. I think there's some technical issue with inviting our guest, joining him in. 1 second. Hey, Harmit, did you join? Hello.
Yeah, I have joined. Can you see me and hear me?
I can hear you, but I am not able to see your video.
Okay, you should be able to see now. Well, this is what I call runtime errors.
Happens, sir.
Okay, I can see myself and I can see yourself, but I'm not sure whether you can see me or not.
I am still unable to see you. Let me check. Okay. You're visible now. Perfect.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you
So
so much.
I was just giving a short introduction about yourself. that the man needs no introduction, of course, and we are very glad that you are being a part of One Race, and I would heartily like to welcome you on this live session
Thank you.
so that our audience know what have you been doing for this community, and so you are the host and take it away from here. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much, Harsh, for this introduction. Well, today's show is not about me, so I would keep it really very short, right?
Okay.
So I have been with One Race almost since it started, and I feel privileged and very lucky to be part of this exciting running community. And it's really great to be now having. Uh, I would say it's really great to be having one foot forward with Harmeet as
Yeah.
I would say, it's a great feeling to be part of this and start hosting this particular activity with the group. Yeah, but I'll keep it to that as of now because today we're going to talk about something more exciting on this particular.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So we have Mr. Shahbaz waiting in line. So whenever you are ready, I'll just let him in and we'll start off the conversation.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. We should really let him in because it's his show.
Perfect. Perfect. Just one second. I'll see his request. Shahbaz, if you are here, can you please send the request again so that I can let you in, buddy? Yes. I've accepted the request. I think he'll be able to join in any minute now.
Okay, we have him here.
Perfect. Welcome, Shahbaz.
Hi, good evening.
Hello.
Thank you.
Okay, Harshdeep, thank you so much. And
Yes.
shall we start or we wait for a few more
Perfect.
minutes?
Yes, 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 yes. Without wasting any time, let's start,
Okay,
guys.
great.
Thank you for being here, both of you, and let our audience have some insightful session about what is One Race, Mr. Shahbaz endeavors, and people would like to know, and the excitement is real. So, guys, take it away. I'll just sit here, listen, adapt, and absorb. Start, please.
Okay, thank you so much, Harshdeep.
Thank you,
Um,
sir. Thank you.
so we will come to Shahbaz's introduction in a bit of time, but it's a serene moment for all of us to be together here. And first of all, a very happy Lodi to all of you. On the behalf of the entire One Race team, I wish you all a very happy Lodi once again. And just to tell you more about what One Race has been doing in so many past years, it's been doing two things. First, it has been spreading happiness. And secondly, it has been relentlessly pursuing the goal of promoting happy lifestyle and healthy lifestyle. And in this, One Race has been organizing, conceptualizing, and delivering some of very exciting runs across the length and breadth of the country. And we are called as the happiest running group, which is our accolade. Going further on this, with every success story that One Race has accomplished, our communities have swelled up. We have very large numbers. We have some very exciting people in our running community and who bring quality experience, very rich experience, like we have Shahbaz today with us. So we thought, why not have a platform where we can get all these people together, learn from each other, and one foot forward with Harmeet is just the manifestation of that. And today our guest needs no introduction. He is an Ironman. His name is Shahbaz Singh Samra. He's from Jalandhar, Punjabi Munda hai. So it runs in the blood. And Shahbaz has been really intriguing to me because I have been going through his bio for a couple of days now. And I think this session is going to be really exciting. Shahbaz started his journey as a runner in 2017, got associated with one race in 2022. He's already completed two half Ironman, one full Ironman, one ultra, and three full marathons. And that really is a very daunting achievement. So, first of all, Shahbaz, kudos to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank
And very welcome, very warm welcome on a cold, foggy day in Delhi. Uh, and it's a great day to be with you here today because of two reasons. Today is my father's birthday, and second is it's Lori.
Wow, thank you. And congratulations on both occasions
Thank you
on
so
his
much.
birthday, and happy Lodi to you and everyone watching.
Thank you so much. Great. So now I will give most of the talking time to Shahbaz. I would be for the next time we are together, for next 30, 40, 50 minutes, whatever, we're together today here, we will be rediscovering the journey in which a person who has been non-runner has become an Ironman strider. So from couch to Ironman, let's discover this journey. So the first one coming up for you, Shahbaz, is as follows. Why do you call yourself as an unprofessional triathlete? Because I think this sport really requires a lot of professionalism, but why unprofessional?
Only because I don't have a professional license. That's it. And unprofessional sounded cooler to me than a non-professional or something else. So it's just eh, when I did my first half Ironman in Dubai, when I thought that now I'm a certified triathlete, so it just sounded a little funny and cool to me. So I just changed my handle to unprofessional. But yeah, I know that the discipline that it takes is almost professional, but yeah, I can't call myself a professional till I become one, which that is just another task, which is I don't think that's possible in this lifetime. So that
Okay.
that's just a short story behind it. Nothing
Yeah, but
major here.
it's a very intriguing handle, unprofessional triathlete, and it's like an oxymoron,
Yeah.
Like at one side you say that you are unprofessional, and on the other side you say I am a successful licensed triathlete. So that was pretty intriguing. Yeah. So, so do you even think that it is sane for a human being, a normal human being who's sitting on a couch today and putting himself to becoming an Ironman? Do you think it's a sane thought?
Yes and no. I don't want to say no, but if someone sitting on the couch thinks of doing an Ironman, you just need to put in a lot of hard work to that. There's no shortcut there. There are no two ways about it. You can't think that I already am good at this, so I'll do X or Y in a short period of time, cramp it up and go do an Ironman. If you want to do a good one, happy finish where you're finishing with a smile on your face without getting injured, etc., etc. You can think about it sitting on a couch, but it'll take a lot of hard work and a lot of time.
Okay,
I mean,
got
week
it.
in, week out, you'll have to turn yourself inside out to actually go and complete an Ironman. There are, I mean, if you go on YouTube, there are a couple of these bloggers or vloggers or whatever you want to call them who do an Ironman without training or a marathon without training just to show or to get those views. So there are people who've done this, but it's not. I don't think it's a common thing. I don't think anyone who takes up this sport is just they usually come from one of the three disciplines, which is either swimming, cycling, or running. They're doing one of them for a while, and then they eventually think that, oh, okay, I'm a decent cyclist. Let's go for an Ironman, which is what I did as well. I had been running for a couple of years, and then I slowly shifted to triathlon. But yeah, like you said, thinking about doing an Ironman just sitting on the couch for a person who doesn't do anything for exercise, or there is no physical activity involved in his or her lifestyle, thinking about doing an Ironman again, I can't say no to that, but it's a big task.
So how would you want to break this journey for a person who's sitting on a couch and who eventually wants to become an Ironman? So can you just give an insight into how would you want him to break this journey?
Sure. There are two ways. So one is, for example, someone like me, which is I had already been running for a couple of years. So if you are from one of these three disciplines or endurance-based activity is what you have been doing for a couple of years or maybe even a couple of months. Let's say it's running, swimming, or cycling. Then you have sort of a base which is already set. So you slowly graduate to the other two sports. Let's say for me, I was a runner. I didn't know how to swim when I first gave this a thought. So we have a fellow triathlete in Jalandhar called Shahbaz. Shahbaz sir also did not know how to swim. So I just looked at him. I was training for my first full marathon when I saw him train for an Ironman back in 2019. He did Ironman Malaysia. So that sort of gave me that belief that he couldn't swim. He learned so from couch to Ironman is his example. I would say again he knew how to run. He was a good runner, phenomenal runner, tremendous athlete, but he learned swimming from scratch, and he put in a year just to learn swimming. Obviously, someone can do it in 2 months. Someone maybe takes 2 years. That is all individual. So if you're from one of these three disciplines, like Sarab sir, like we were runners, and eventually I bought a cycle. I just consulted him. Sir, I want to buy a cycle. What sort of cycle do you need, etc. I never owned a bike before that. Ordered a bike, learned how to swim, and eventually it took me 2 years from running to finishing an Ironman. Whereas if someone is just sitting on the couch and thinks that I want to do an Ironman, again, you don't have to start with one discipline. You can jump in all three at the same time. You can. Then I would say again, there are two ways. One, you get a coach, and the coach creates a structured program for you, which is what I would recommend to any new triathlete. Second, if you want to do it all by yourself, again, it is possible, but it will take a lot of time for you to practice all three, to structurize the training, to learn more about nutrition, because it's not only just these three disciplines. There's a lot more once you start, which is what you'll realize once you start doing it. Even when you do long distance running, ultra running, for example, you realize there's nutrition, recovery, sleep, your family, your social life, etc., etc., etc. So just I would say give yourself time. Don't set a target that I don't do anything. Today I'm sitting on the couch and I want to do an Ironman in 6 months. That is just not. That doesn't make any like. If you look at it from a common sense point of view, if I can put it that way, I don't think that's a good idea.
So
But
so just a side question on this. Then what's the ideal time in which realistically any person who is starting to run can look at becoming a injury-free Ironman?
if you are a decently fit person, I would say minimum a year. But if you have no sort of fitness at all, it can take longer. I'm sure there'll be some special cases who might have done it in 6 months, 3 months, whatever. But average, I would say 12 months is the bare minimum that you need to prepare for a full distance Ironman.
Right.
Because
yeah,
sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that the base that you said, which is the long hours of training, that what these guys say, even, I mean, my coach has done 37 Ironman full distance. Even for him, you cannot train enough. There's always something that you learn. Even after 37, man, I've only done one. There are people who've done 5, 6, 10. They still keep, it's an evolving process. So even after a year, you can't say, oh yeah, that's it, done. I've achieved everything. No, you do the next one, there'll be something new, etc., whatnot. But minimum a year, I would say.
Fantastic. So I was just again very curious about your bio, and I learned that you are ex-KPMG and a banker, right? And that's a very loving, lavish corporate job. You know, with a nice hot cup of cappuccino in your hand, you can spend the entire day.
Yeah.
Okay, and roam around with nicely suited booted. So, what manages, or what triggers you to play with dirt, with the water, with cycling and all the stuff happening around you? So, how does this transition happen?
So when I was in KPMG, we were forced to do a 10K event by a colleague. She used to run, I think, that Tata Mumbai marathon every year. But the year before, she could not finish. She got cramps or whatever on the route, and she couldn't finish. So for the next year's race, you have to qualify. So she had to do a 10K in X amount of time or whatever it was. So she said, why don't we all go and run this 10K? And we all, like you said, we just laughed on her that Sunday morning we are not going to wake up and do a 10K. Saturday is supposed to be like a party night, etc., etc. Sorry, no one's coming. She somehow managed to convince 10-15 of us to participate in that 10K, which was the Karnakia Monsoon Half Marathon or something like that. It was called in BKC. So it was called the Monsoon Marathon. I still remember it was raining and 3-4 of us were standing in this like under a building for the rain to stop. And then someone said, "Okay, this is a monsoon marathon. You have to run in this." Like, yes, of course. So that's how we were. We just didn't know anything about running. We just went and we all did the 10K. We went and had a good breakfast after that. We enjoyed the event, and I thought this was good. So I took up running. That was the start of my running journey back in 2017 July. So that's when I signed up for the Tata Mumbai Marathon, which was supposed to happen in the coming January after. So yeah, it started there. Ran a couple of half marathons, and then eventually I decided I want to do a marathon. And again, my first marathon, again, I wouldn't recommend this. Again, you can do it. It was the Ladakh Marathon. So again, when I signed up for Ladakh Marathon, even then I got why Ladakh. Ladakh should be your first because of the altitude and the challenge and blah, blah, blah. And I thought, if I go to Ladakh and if I finish that successfully, nothing can be more challenging than that. At that time, I had no idea what an Ironman was or anything. It was just a marathon was my only goal. I did Ladakh, and after Ladakh, it's probably one of the most beautiful races I've ever done in my life. But after Ladakh, for a month, I didn't do anything. I was like, this is way too tough. Then I thought I'll give myself another chance and do a marathon at sea level and see how it goes. Then I did the New Delhi Marathon in February 2020. It was during that Ladakh and New Delhi Marathon training that I came across Shahbaz sir. He was training for his Ironman. He did his Malaysia Ironman in 2019 September, I think. September or October it was. That's when I thought that as soon as I finish NDM 2020, that's when I'm going to get a bike and do an Ironman. So like you, sorry, I just diverted a little from the question. Like you said, what I don't know, the why is the feeling that it gives you. Initially it was, thoda sa you've lost some weight, you lost some fat, oh nice, now you can enjoy the extra beer or the burger. That's what motivated at least me to do continue running. But I think in that corporate life, that this sort of keeps you sane. At least it kept me sane. I mean, I'm sure everyone has their own thing, but it keeps you sane. There's a new challenge every day, and sort of addict is the wrong word. Eventually you become addict. I'm sure all runners or endurance athletes watching, they'll relate to it. Eventually you can't let go of it. It's either you hate it, that no, running's not for me, which was my case. I used to play football. I was never really like great at it, but back in school as well, but I never ran. Running was just a complete no for me. We used to have cross country in our school, and I never ran that. We used to jump in the bushes and sleep while we were forced to practice for that. The running was just, my school friends still look at me and sometimes laugh at me. Tere ko ye kya ho gaya? You were the least running person ever, and now this. But yeah, the challenge that it adds, I think, is the once you do it, the feeling that you get at the finish line. That's what
so I think it's a very I can actually correlate with your thought process here because I've experienced it myself personally, and somehow it becomes pretty challenging for people like us who work in corporate to actually explain it to others that what kind of experience it is actually to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and hail thunderstorm going out and achieving your running goals. Absolutely. But yes, that's what the journey is all about. We have to keep on motivating the people who are on our the near ones, dear ones, And as in your journey, I would say the women played the best part. She ensured that she set you on this
Absolutely.
on this success path. So
100%.
kudos to her as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Because like
Great.
you said, it is very difficult sometimes to explain to other people that why are you doing this? Why wake up at 4? Why are you punishing yourself? And then it's hard to explain that this is not a punishment. This is something I choose to do. I want to do it. If I don't do it, I feel like now something is missing. That you
Yeah,
haven't
absolutely.
done something. But yeah, eventually Sarab sir has inspired a couple of triathletes in Jalandhar, which we could never think of. So
Mhm.
eventually people are getting on it. So the running culture or the endurance culture is developing, I would
Okay.
say. In tier 2 and 3 cities, obviously, there are metros where there are you see a lot of new runners and endurance athletes coming on every day. But yeah.
So let's do a quick split. Let's
So
look at the three prominent races that you have ran and which you mentioned in your bio to me. One is just as you just mentioned right now, which is the Ladakh Marathon. Okay.
yeah.
The second one is the one race Kikar Ultra,
Yes.
and the third one is the New Zealand Ironman. Right. Let's look at from a landscape perspective how these three are different. What kind of challenges have you faced during the race? And what has been really your experience on these three different landscapes?
Yeah. So I'll start with Ladakh because even chronological in that order, Ladakh was the first out of these three. And also, like I mentioned, Ladakh was my first full marathon. So Ladakh has a complete. Ladakh is a race where I would say you don't go for a personal best or anything of that sort. You just go there for the experience. You people go and say that I conquered this Khardungla. You don't conquer anything. You're just thankful that you can run or there's a race being organized in that part of the world. I have never ran or done anything in a more beautiful place than Ladakh. So challenges were obviously there's a lot of elevation ups and downs, but the altitude, the sort of lack of oxygen there, which I had no idea about. And that was also my first visit to Leh. I'd never been there. So that was also one of the reasons for me to sign up for that race. That it'll take back two things: that going to Leh and running a full marathon. So I remember the whole race. And Ladakh is unlike any other full marathon you will run on sea level because let's say if I compare it to NDM, there are so many people on the start line. Then there are or if you compare it to Tata Mumbai Marathon, which is happening next weekend, there are so many not only people running it but also people supporting you on the streets or people coming out from their houses, and there are a lot of people. Ladakh was after the initial few kilometers, which went through the first village. I forgot the name of the village. Once you go on the Leh Manali highway and then the interior roads, it gets so lonely. There are the starters all get spread out. There is no one supporting you. Yeah, you'll see that odd kid or people from a village if you're crossing one. There were points when I looked ahead, there was no one. I looked back, there was no one. So you wonder whether even if you're going in the right direction, and at that altitude, you do not want to run extra. Especially for me, it was my first.
Yeah.
So that was it was very very challenging. It was more of a mental challenge than a physical challenge because, and obviously like for half marathons, a big goal for a beginner is to break the 2 hour mark, a sub 2 half marathon. For marathon, everyone was talking about a sub 4 marathon. Like I didn't know Ladakh jaake I'll experience that altitude will make such a difference. So I thought, yeah, sub 4 I'll do. After the first couple of kilometers, I knew there is no sub 4, no PB, nothing happening here. You are just here to enjoy the race, but um, the the altitude and the elevation there and everything combined, uh, it, it's a huge task. And another thing was they had mentioned because they were making Leh plastic free, so they only had cups of water. There were no bottles, so you had to carry your own sort of hydration pack and everything. So that's another challenge running with that with a little bit of food. They had cups, but obviously you can't hold a cup and run, so you could only stop, drink, and then move on. But otherwise, overall, It was beautiful, but it was also 4 hours of hell, if I can put it that way. And the last part is the most challenging part when you're coming back into Leh to finish the race, which everyone who's done Ladakh Marathon will relate to. It is a 3 kilometer of complete uphill like this, which is the last 3 kilometers. And I remember if I think it's a good time to mention that we live in a joint family, and all 7, 8 of us, we're all runners. Everyone runs. So I remember my parents were there, my chacha, chachi, Amir, my cousin, all of them were there. They were doing the half marathon. So last kilometer, so they sort of ran with me to push me. Otherwise, there were points when you think that forget it, let's just stop. But obviously that's never an option. But it is a very, very challenging race, but a beautiful race. So I'd recommend everyone to, maybe not your first, but once you've got a good base, you should all go. Because at that time when I was at Ladakh, I saw these people doing the Khardungla challenge. So that also became, now it's on my bucket list for the future as well. So that was Ladakh. Second race that you mentioned, we were talking about is Ironman New Zealand. Ironman New Zealand, like when I bought my first bike 2020, I thought, yeah, I'll do an Ironman. Ironman happens, the New Zealand Ironman, it happens in March of every year. So I bought the bike in Feb 2020, thinking that 1 year I will, 1 year later I'll do the Ironman. But obviously 2020 March, COVID happened, everything went for a toss. But luckily I got my bike. So I did a lot of cycling. Pools were shut for the whole entire year because of COVID. We did a lot of cycling. My brother also joined me for this Ironman thing. He had never done a full marathon. So he had only done a half marathon. Even he thought, yeah, let's do it. So we both got 2 cycles, and we just used to ride a lot, run a lot, and no swimming, obviously, because there were no pools open. So it was only in 2021 that the pools opened, and we got in touch with Kosto Brodkar, the 37 times Ironman finisher. He's our coach. He's still my coach. We contacted him that, boss, we don't know how to swim. We have 1 year. We want to do an Ironman. Is it possible? He said, I will give you a structured program. You just trust the process. Keep at it. Stay consistent. I guarantee you will be able to finish it. He said, done. Ho gaya. Like you said in the beginning, Punjabi Munda, we had that. We needed that little validation. He said, a guy who's done it at that time, he had done, I think, about 28 or 29. We said 28 time finishers is saying you can do it. We're like, we will do it. Because again, we got questions. Yeah, you don't know how to swim. There's that. How and that's open water swimming. How will you manage? Like, we'll manage. Ho jayega. New Zealand did not open its borders in 2022 March, so we couldn't go. But at that time, Dubai was open, so we all went for half Ironman Dubai. And trust me when I say this, my first open water swim ever was the Dubai race. So we did the half Ironman Dubai, then we did half Ironman Goa in September, and eventually went to New Zealand. Again, that New Zealand race, again, it's beautiful, it's epic. The local support we got, it's in a very small town called Taupo. It's in the North Island, about 3 hours drive from Auckland. The local support was just amazing. It's a village of about 3,000-4,000 people, and all of them come out and volunteer, and they support you like you're a star there for those many hours. So it was insane the way they support you. But especially during the bike part, swim was nice. It was in a lake, a very, very clean lake, luckily. The swim, as soon as you come out of the swim, you go on the bike. So bike was a 90-kilometer loop. You had to do it twice. Bike, for me personally, I think the biking part was a little, that's where it gets mentally very challenging. You get a little lonely because the support that you see on the sides, bike, when it's all scattered. Run, the entire 10-kilometer loop, which you have to do 4 times, was filled with people. Run was more or less like a party. I took 4 hours, 20 minutes for the marathon. It was like a 4-hour, 20-minute party. People were celebrating. They were playing music, whatnot. They were dancing and they were cheering you on. So there's a lot of support. But bike is where it got really lonely. It was very, very windy on that day. Something which I had not experienced earlier because when you used to practice here, I'd never really experienced that sort of winds. So even on downhill, sometimes my speed was only 20, 22 kilometers per hour, whereas I thought that my training was good enough to go at 30 at least at any given point in time. But that is where it becomes very, very challenging. But Ironman, more than physical, I think it's a mental challenge. Not only the race day, the entire process. When you have to practice, you have to practice those 5, 5, 6 hour long rides and longer runs, long swims. Physically, you've prepared for it because you gave yourself 2 years. You've been on it for so long. Physically, you're capable of doing it once you've trained so much. But mentally, it depends on the day, how you feel, what happens. My only worry was, I don't want to get a puncture because I don't want to add another 10, 15 minutes on already brutal day. So there's a lot which is going on in your mind. But luckily, the support, the nutrition support, the hydration support, everything was so good that.
Yeah.
Another thing where training plays a big role, and a coach like him, or any coach for that matter, any good coach really helps you, is nutrition wise what you eat on that day. I was after Dubai, my first half Ironman, which was half of this, I was almost in a dead state. I thought, yeah, we'll go have this, we'll do that. After the race, I was passed out. Even after Goa, it was in a better place than Dubai, but not as good. But by the time I reached New Zealand, I trained so much, I had eaten well, I tried to keep myself fit. That after New Zealand, I wouldn't say that I was normal, but I was in a very good shape. I was walking. We got a beer and we celebrated and everything. So it was good. It's always good when you finish such a brutal race and you finish with a smile on your face,
Yeah.
without thinking that why the hell am I doing this, etc. But rather, I was looking forward to the next one. I was like, this is done. Let's go one more time. So somewhere else maybe. But yeah, that was New Zealand, which was last year March. And kicker,
So sorry, I'll
please.
just before we come to kicker.
Yeah.
So in these two races that you said for Ladakh and for New Zealand, one of the things that I have learned about you is that you love to have people around you. Uh, so you
No,
don't want to run alone. Because I realized that in Ladakh also you mentioned that when you looked aage piche, so there was no one, and that was kind of a dampener. And here also in New Zealand, you mentioned that while you were on cycling, the people were pretty scattered, so that kind of plays mentally on the psyche. So the question to this is that. Of course, I realize that when people are around you, you feel you get that energy, right? They push you. You see an
yeah.
association, and you get the energy from the crowd. How does one prepare himself mentally for going through this stage? And whenever he says कि बस अब नहीं हो रहा, रुक जाते हैं, हम क्यों कर रहे
Um,
हैं? How do you cross this hump?
um, two things. One, like you said, I don't think I like people around me like that. But yes, it's a big push when they're there to support you. When a stranger claps for you, it could be anywhere, not only New Zealand. You see that in India or any other some of our local races as well. That really gives you that push. You want to go. It gives you that energy. But when they're not there, when it's a mental challenge, it's during that time that you remind yourself that why you signed up for this. You tell yourself that you've trained you've maybe cycled 7,000 kilometers or 6,000 kilometers for this 180 kilometers. Now you cannot give up. This is what I told myself, that you've trained 6 hours on weekends, you've given up a lot of things, or you put your family through a lot of things, that everything revolves around your training on the weekends, etc. But now you cannot give up. It's just not an option, because at that time you know that physically you're capable of doing this because you've trained so much. But mentally you keep going, especially when, like I said, it was so windy. You look at your watch and it says 140 kilometers to go. That after a while you think maybe 20 kilometer ho gaye, 120 more to go, but you think abhi 5 hi aur hue. So that is when the mental part start coming in. So again, one of the U-turns, I got a shout, don't look at your watch, it won't move. So that sort of stuck with me. Then I didn't look at my watch because then I thought, hey, it's a beautiful race, the roads are nice, forget it, let's just keep going, let's enjoy. There were other cyclists obviously on the race. And a beauty of endurance sport is that this is probably the only sport where it could be either Ironman or marathons, where pros and amateurs, age groupers like us, we start on the same starting line and we're doing the same race. We sort of have the same support, same nutrition, etc. We get the same medal at the end of the day. So that is another thing that plays a role when on the cycling course. There's a triathlete called Shahbaz Singh Samra who we only saw on Instagram, and he overtakes you. So these are things that keep you going, right? So even on marathon, you run TMM, and on the other side you see these Kenyans run. These are things that you just look for some source of inspiration, or that something to you look at someone else, or you see an 80-year-old guy or a woman doing cycling on that route, and then you look at them and think, come on, that's inspiring, right? You look at some 60-70-year-old and they were there. I'm not even making this up, they were there. So you look at them, the people with disabilities who do this. So there's a lot of things. You look at something, you take that inspiration that keeps you going for half an hour, then half an hour later maybe something else, and that's how you keep pushing yourself. But always just remind yourself, why did you sign up for this? Why did you put yourself through? What's your why? What are you going to achieve? So that should keep you going for
so it's 1 foot forward, one step at a time.
It is literally that. Quite literally, you could not have put it better than that. It is just 1 foot forward, and like 1 kilometer at a time. You cannot think when you start on the cycle, it's 180 kilometer bike. You can't think it's 179 to go. No, it will never end. You just think about the next 500 meters or the next kilometer, or you look at you're going ahead, you see a big tree or something, maybe a kilometer or so ahead of you. You just think that, oh, bas wahan tak jana hai, to that
so
tree.
you break the journey.
Basically.
Got it. Great. So one very intriguing question. Lot of non-swimmers who sign up for this, right? Okay, so I'll put it another way. I have seen that, people who learn swimming, when they're kids, it's easy for them because they're thrown in the water. At least I learned it that way. And for people who are adults who take up swimming later and then doing it, there's always a fear of water. Okay, there's a fear of depth. Did you face this challenge from any perspective? And if yes, then how did you overcome this?
The only challenge I faced while swimming was that I just basically, when I started this Ironman journey, I wanted to swim for 3.8 kilometers. That I just want to make myself capable to finish. There's a 2 hour 20-minute cutoff for the swim in a full Ironman. You have to finish the swim in 2 hour 20 minutes, which again, whoever's done it will realize that it's a good enough time. Everyone basically they do it. It's not a big challenge because if I can do it, a complete non-swimmer and still a very, very poor swimmer, everyone does it. I never really had the fear of, let's say, deep waters or drowning or anything of that sort. My fear was only that the swim is something I want to get through, because I didn't really enjoy it. Now I started to enjoy it more than I used to, but it was just like, let's just get over with the swim, even during training. That I didn't swim, but obviously I had to do it because I didn't know how to swim. So my only thing was to get to that distance. So during that crunch period, while preparing for New Zealand, I did get 4K swims. So we had to swim for 4 kilometers. So that was my only thing, that I want to swim non-stop for 4 kilometers under that cutoff time. And rest I'll take care of. I enjoyed that more. Now I've started to enjoy swimming more than I used to, but yes, that is a big problem
Okay, so how different is swimming in open waters versus swimming in a controlled environment where there is, the water is still?
Open waters, my only fear when I did my first half Ironman in Dubai, only fear was I had swam that distance before, but in a pool.
Yeah.
Only fear was, pool mein if you get tired, you can stop. I knew that I can swim the distance. I said, यहाँ तो थक गए तो you can't stop. डूबना is the only option. But honestly, once you're in, then all those thoughts go away. At least for me. Once you're in the pool, there was not a mass start, so every 5 seconds they let three athletes in. Once you go into the ocean, and itna where your feet are off the beach ground or the sea level or the base level, and you're in the water, you're swimming, then everything goes. Then these thoughts, then your only focus is your next stroke and bus to the next boy, and then the U-turn, and then you see the swim end sign. Then it's only all about that. There is no at least I not once in all three of these races I never thought that maybe the water's deep or this or that, or nothing of that sort. I didn't let those thoughts come to me. The focus was only just keep going, and obviously because there's so many people swimming at that same point, there are chances of you getting kicked in the face, or I was just praying that I did get kicked in the face in Dubai and in Goa as well. But my only what was it? Luckily, I did not get any. Maybe your goggles go off or something like that, and then because in that salt water, that is a big challenge. I didn't know how to deal with that. My only fear was, "Bas ye na ho, baki I'll manage."
Okay, great. Okay, so let's get off you now and let's talk about the things that are associated with you, right? And we'll come back to the closing remarks on the Ultra Kicker. So that bit is left, but we'll handle it in another as an independent question, right? So in these 6 years of your journey, how has your lifestyle changed? How has it affected your family? How has it affected your social life? Have you lost friends, found new friends? Let us know more about that bit about you.
Family wise, I think I've been very, very lucky. One, because like I said, all of us run. So there was no need to justify to anyone, that this is what I signed up for. There was no, at least immediate family, there was no such reaction in this way that why are you doing this? There's no need, blah, 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 nothing like that. Rather, everyone jumped on the journey with me, supported me. I had my family in Dubai with me. They were cheering on for me. My mom, dad, Sachi, my in-laws, everyone was there. New Zealand mom, dad were there. Obviously, my brother also did the race, so his entire family, everyone was there. So that way, I've been very, very lucky. The support not only on race day, but even during training, what you want to eat, everything. So that way, it's been phenomenal from my family. Yes, the other, your social circle or your extended friends and families, etc. Obviously, there is some reaction. Why do you need to do this? Yeah, why are you putting yourself through this? Eventually, they also realize that ये सुनने वाला तो है नहीं, so either they make peace with it. So either they make peace with it, or they are supporting you. But the other thing that this sport has really given me, and I'm sure it's given to everyone, is the one of the best things about this sport is not only triathlon, any endurance running, and I can talk about running and triathlon. The new friends or people that I've met through triathlon, it's been absolutely amazing. I've met so many, like, obviously everyone who's doing this is, you have that one thing in common, that they are mad like you. They are also doing something like this. So you make new friends, you meet new people, and it's always an instant click with them. Some of them I only met recently, but it's given me new friends for sure, which is which has been a gift, honestly. I wouldn't say I've really lost any friends, but I, I went to a boarding school. So even in Jalandhar, the friends I had were through football, were through sport. When we used to play football with the group I play with, those are the only people I call friends in Jalandhar. That's it. I don't have any school friends, and also, so my school friends are all, because I went to a boarding school, they're all over. So Jalandhar circle was also through a sport. Now the Jalandhar friends are again through either running or the people I talk to most in the city are all either are in triathlon or running, and even outside.
Great.
I've made new friends through this for sure, I would say.
Okay. Fantastic. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Shahbaz, for this one. Let's now understand the secret sauce of you achieving your goals. So let's divide your journey into three parts, which is mental, nutritional, and physical.
Yeah.
Okay, because this is a very important question for the audience to understand that if you are preparing for such a demanding sport like an Ironman or a triathlon where you are actually looking at conquering three disciplines,
Yeah.
then what kind of mental preparation is required? Then how do you physically need to ensure that you remain injury free?
Yeah.
And then how does nutrition play its role?
Okay.
What kind of changes happen in the nutrition so that you can sustain, your body can sustain for such an daunting task?
So I'll start with the physical part, because primarily it's your body that's going through it, and you're putting your body through a lot when you're training for anything long distance triathlon or an ultra marathon. The one mantra that I would suggest to anyone is slow and steady wins the race. Do not rush. Don't do too much, too often, too soon. Don't do that. Just take it slow, take it easy, and give yourself time. Things won't happen overnight. You look at someone on maybe Instagram or wherever, and you think, oh, even I want to become like that, and then you jump on it too early and end up injuring yourself and stuff like that, which is just not good, because in the long run you won't be able to sustain that. So take it slow, take it easy, build a solid base. By base, I mean, you're a marathoner, you know that the zone 2 running, or the easy part, the easy boring part, the intervals part, or that interesting part where you think, it's challenging. Focus on that less, but the boring part, day in day out, turn up every day no matter what. Just stay consistent and take it easy, just keep going. That's sort of the only mantra physically, and the body learns how to take it, versus if you just week 2 of your training and you straight jump on 215-kilometer cycling. Maybe that week you will feel amazing. Now I did 150, but week 4 you will eventually crash. You'll think, because your body is not meant to take it that way. So just build gradually, take it, be very, very patient. Just stay calm, trust the process, and turn up every day. And eventually you'll get there. Mental, I think it's a byproduct of physical. When you're going through that physically, mentally, there are two things that can happen. Either it can break you, you just leave everything, that this is not for me, I can't do this. Or mentally you start becoming stronger, which is what happened with me. Or you sort of keep telling yourself, no, this is what I signed up for, why I signed up for this, what I want to achieve, and what I want to get out of it. You start seeing those changes, you start improving. So mentally, sort of, you, as a byproduct of that brutal physical things that you put through, mentally sort of makes you stronger and stronger every day. There are days obviously where you get up, alarm rings at 4 a.m. and you think that, no, today I don't want to go. But then again you remind yourself that, why did I sign up, what am I going to achieve today. And you keep celebrating those small victories. For example, the first 2 kilometer swim for me, that was a small little victory. It was in a pool, it was on a training day, there was no race, no medal, nothing for that. But for me, it felt good. So you reward yourself, just a pat on your own
Yeah.
back, that, see, this is what you get. So that just makes the process easier. Nutrition is a whole another topic. I mean, you can go about nutrition for hours, but I would say again, just keep the basics right. Eat well, eat clean, eat. The 80-20 rule that you have in training, maybe if there are people who are not endurance athletes watching it, the simple rule is 80% of the time you do easy training, 20% should be a hard training. 80% very easy, 20% very hard. That polarization. I follow the same for my eating habits. I mean, I don't measure it as a 80-20. 80% I try to eat clean, whole foods, nothing processed, no junk or crap or beer or anything. And 20% you let go, and you maybe want to have an ice cream or that piece of cake or whatever it is, so, fried food or whatever. But that 80% of the time, people sometimes focus a lot on, I mean, you see on social media and stuff, this online gyan that you get, ye kha lo, isse ye ho jata hai, this and that. It's all some sort of marketing gimmicks. I would say don't fall for all of that. Just keep your basics right. Have good, have carbs, have protein, have fats, everything. Balance it out. Your normal ghar ka khana is sufficient. Don't take unnecessary supplements. You'll see all these ads, or you eat this and your stamina will increase. No, it won't. Your training will make you increase your stamina or your strength. You know, um, eating a pill or whatever, it won't do any good to you. So stay away from these online marketing gimmicks, etc. And just try to eat clean. One thing I've started doing for the last year or so, or even more, is when you read food labels, if you buy anything, we just like to focus on the macro part. कि इसमें calories कितनी है या protein कितना है, this that. I just look at the ingredients label. If it has processed emulsifiers and crap, it's just off. Even if calories wise, protein wise, it's great. It's not. This artificial stuff it's doing you no good. It's just making a bigger hole in your pocket. They're just making you spend money. Just don't fall for that.
Yeah. So I think
And
going
one more
back
thing I
to
would
our,
just say here,
go
sorry,
ahead, go
I
ahead.
just cut you off, that if you're taking nutrition advice from anyone, I also did that for a small period of time, just to understand all of this, what my body needs to go better for endurance. Just make sure the certified nutritionists, they're not just any dietitians or all of that. This, because they don't understand endurance sport, just don't fall for gym instructors and stuff like that. Just make sure that if it's slightly more of an investment there, just do it. It'll pay off in the longer run. Yeah.
Great. So as I understood from you, अगर हम अपने जो normal हिंदुस्तानी घरों में खाना बनता है, right? If it is cooked well, it provides a lot of nourishment,
Yeah.
right? And it's a great food to have. And if you go a couple of generations back, when I was a kid, I used to eat mostly ghar ka khana, so that was enough. It's only that over a period of time when the processed foods have taken up. But
Yeah.
now I see in my personal journey also, I've seen that now people are getting back to the roots, so which is great. So thank you again, Shahbaz, for these inputs. Um so now let's come back to our one race kicker experience. So we wanted to understand from you that how did that go about? How was the ultra? Because as I understand, the landscape was very
Yeah.
different. You were working across a lot of jungle
Yeah.
territory, a lot of slush, mud, and all that stuff. So let's understand about that. And how different was it from the other two, which are more on the tarmac?
Yeah. So Kicker was my first ultra and also my first trail run, terrain wise. It was like you said, there was no part which was on proper roads. It was all different landscapes. So obviously, when Gurpreet ji from One Race and Rajiv ji, they said, I was lucky enough. They called me to the Kicker Resort. They said, "यार हम ना ये ultra कराने की सोच रहे हैं. Will you come with us and we want to see the route and we just want a runner's perspective on the route. Will you come?" I was actually catching a flight to somewhere from Chandigarh that day. So I thought, perfect. It's from Jalandhar. Kicker is sort of not en route, but not too far of a detour to come to Chandigarh. I said, "Sir, yeah, sure, I'll come." lucky enough, when they called me, when we went on Amrinder Singh Ji from the Kika Resort, when he took us to the trails and everything, that was a horrible day on May. It was very, very hot. But I just decided on that day that if this goes ahead, I'm definitely doing it, because 2 hours way drive from Jalandhar. I mean, you fly so many hours to different countries to do a race like that. I thought I'm definitely doing this. And then on the race day when we went, it was just uh, this is very, very challenging, because there were different types of challenge. One was I'll break it into parts. The first 6 kilometers were trails, but they were not, there was no elevation, there was no, it was not very rocky, it was just sort of an off-road sort of an experience, sort of fairly flat. That was the easy part. Then we turned left on the mountain part, which was all, some of them were proper climb, some of it was proper climbing. It was all rocks and there's no proper route. They had marked it with yellow flag sort of thing, and you just had to follow those yellow flags to make sure that you're going in the right direction. There was a very small sort of a route, but there was no proper one route. It was all rocky mountain climbing, which was the most difficult part, I thought. Then downhill was more difficult than going uphill, because it just puts more pressure on your
Yeah.
knees.
Break your fall.
Yeah, but the entire route, it was so beautiful, honestly, that it was two loops for 25 kilometers. It was a 50-kilometer race that I did. So the first 25 I was just trying to bask everything in, sunrise, etc., etc. So it was good views. As soon as we got down, the last 7 or 8 kilometers were on a riverbed, which was very, very
Yeah.
challenging, because especially on the second loop, after the first 20, last, let's say about 42 to 50th kilometer, that riverbed, the second loop riverbed was so challenging because it was loose sand. That's where I also fell a couple of times, because there were rocks which were under the small rocks which were under the sand, which you couldn't see, and you couldn't really lift your feet up very high, because in that loose sand, if foot goes and goes in, so
You
you
don't get a
almost sort of,
pushback. Yeah.
exactly, you don't get that pushback. So you're almost sort of dragging your feet. So that was a big challenge. But again, the whole experience of it, everything, because it's all private forest land, there was no kachra, there were no Lay's ke packets or anything of that. So it's all, we were in the nature for 6 hours, which was amazing. And the support there, the way that race was organized, I would say anyone who's looking to do a trail run, they have a 16-kilometer at 20. I don't know if it's going to happen this year or not. I'm sure it will, because of the response it got last year. I would recommend everyone to do that race again, because it's just amazing, and the weather's good, the way it's organized, the nutrition support, the hydration support in those trails at that difficult parts. There were again people from the village who had climbed up there. There was no one living there. They just climbed up there to support us, which was great. They support us in terms of nutrition, or they had oranges, gels, bananas, etc., etc. So that way it was phenomenal. But
Okay.
the whole it was completely different from any road race, or even a slight off-road trail. It was a proper technical. There were parts which were technical trails, riverbed, but it was absolutely amazing.
Yeah. So in one race, you actually experienced a lot of races
Oh
together.
yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic. Great. We are almost on an hour now, so we will try to. I just got a couple of more questions for
Yeah.
you. Ironman as a sport will also invite a lot of investments in terms of money, right? Which is like your cycling, your other gear, because it's an endurance sport. You just cannot normally run with the normal stuff. So how did you go about it, and how do you advise the audience to go about that part?
Yes, it is an investment, doing an Ironman in terms of the
Yeah.
equipment, but I would say it doesn't have to be as expensive as some people make it sound to be. I mean, cycles. We start running. It's simple. You just need a pair of running shoes. Bike. you can buy a bike for 25,000 or you can buy a bike for 10 lakhs. It is up to you what you want to invest in. You can do an Ironman in either, but obviously there's middle grounds there. Cycling and then swimming, again, you don't need a lot of gear there as well. What I'm trying to say is that invest in the right things. You get a good bike, because by good bike I mean a solid bike which will help you finish a race strongly. Not, you don't need a top of the range bike to finish an Ironman for a guy like me. If you're aiming for a world championship slot, etc., then it's a different story, because then even 0.5 margin in your speed or whatever matters. But investment wise, invest in the right thing, get a good trainer, invest in a coach which will help you for sure, especially for your first. After you've done maybe one or two, and if you want to continue it for the rest of life, maybe you think you're good enough to create your own program, or you know how a training program is supposed to be structured. But for the first one, I would suggest invest in a coach, invest in a decent bike. The running shoes, the mistake I made, you go for these really top of the range carbon plated shoes, etc., we'll go fast, we'll do this. You don't need them, because after swimming and cycling for 180 kilometers, you're not going to finish a marathon in 3 hours or 3 hours 15 minutes or 20 minutes, whatever. So just get a comfortable pair of running shoes that'll help you keep your feet sort of as fresh as they can in those conditions. And yeah, that's about it. You'll see all sorts of fancy gears when you go for a race. You see someone obviously with a better bike, with better wheels, with better this, and you think, yeah, even I want this. But at the end of the day, it's not a demand that has to be. It's not a necessity. I mean, if you afford it, you choose to do it. Fair enough, go for it. But it doesn't have to be as expensive as some of.
So what's a decent, I would say, you know, decent bike? What kind of do you have anything to suggest on that bit?
I don't know. I mean, a decent bike, honestly, a bike for about, you can get a very decent bike, not a triathlon bike, but a road bike for about 60,000-70,000 rupees. You can get a good enough road bike where you can put a tri-bars on it and go do an Ironman. Obviously, you can spend less and still go do it. I know people, I've seen again YouTube videos where people have done an Ironman on a mountain bike and whatnot. So people do a lot of different things, but a decent road bike is what you need for an Ironman. You don't need to go and splash that cash. Obviously, if you want, go for it. If you think that a triathlon bike will help you, or especially if you know for a fact that you're going to take it up long term. If it's just one Ironman, for example, if you think that I want to do one Ironman, that's a bucket list take off, and then I'm going to go back to either running or whatever else, or maybe nothing. Then honestly, you can just get a very very basic bike and go do it. But if you know for sure that you want to continue it for a foreseeable future or the rest of your life, then it makes sense in I think investing a good bike, because they don't really go bad. Once you've made that investment, you can literally keep it forever. For example, a carbon bike or whatever, or even a good aluminium road bike, if you maintain it well, you don't. They never go off there. There's no expiry date there, so you can just ride on it for the rest of your life.
Okay. Okay, great. So of these three sports, the three disciplines, which is your favorite? Why? And which you just hate from the core? Why?
I'm going to answer your question, but before that, I would just say one thing. If you are from one of these three disciplines and you shift to triathlon, do not treat triathlon as three different sports. It's not. I would suggest start treating triathlon as one sport. Swim, bike, run. It's not a combination of three sports. Because if you're doing standalone cycling, for example, and I know people who do, if they're just cycling, they'll cycle for 100 kilometers at an average speed of 35, let's say. There are people who do that. But when you come triathlon, why I'm saying you treat it as one sport is because then you have to factor in that I'm going to cycle 180 kilometers after a 3.8 kilometer swim. I'm going to cycle in such a way that I have to run a marathon after that. So you can't really go all out swim, all out cycling, all out running, or you add your best swimming time, best cycling time, and best running time, combine it. This is my Ironman time. It doesn't happen like that. It'll never happen like that. Even for the best of the best pros, it doesn't happen like that. So if you are, let's say, for me being a runner, and then from running I graduated to triathlon. When you're doing your Ironman preparation, you have to run in a way where your marathon time, let's say, coach gives you a goal marathon pace. Your goal marathon pace has to be your Ironman goal marathon pace, not your standalone marathon pace, because then you're training to run a marathon after swimming and cycling 180 kilometers. It's not just a standalone marathon. So my first thing is, don't pick one or two and think that, oh, run pay I'll build and I'll go run all out and cut my time by 1 hour. It won't happen. Treat it as one sport. But out of the three, if you really want me to answer, running is my favorite because I was a runner before I came to triathlon. I really enjoyed it. And like I said, I didn't particularly like swimming, but now I've started to enjoy it. So I don't really I don't hate it from the core. The thing I hate from the core is what some people recommend, that you should do yoga and stretching and all to recover well. This just doesn't happen.
Well, that was my next question actually. So what do you do for recovery?
That is what I hate from the core. I think everyone will relate to this. Every endurance athlete, that is something everyone hates from the core. That is what I hate. No, but out of these three disciplines, no, I don't hate anything.
Yeah, but after such an enduring sport, you definitely need recovery. So how do you do that, even if it is not yoga and stretching?
No, I don't do yoga at all, but I do a little bit of stretching, or at least I think I do. I've improved on it. Pehle, I just didn't bother, but now, to stay injury free, you need some sort of, not necessarily stretching, foam rolling, or sleep enough. Try to get. Again, it doesn't happen very often. People say you should sleep for 7 hours, 8 hours. It doesn't happen with the social life and everything. With your family, it usually doesn't happen. But the first thing I would say is eat well. Honestly, that eat and sleep. These are two things I think which are the easiest. Again, for recovery, people will do a lot of what people do in terms of eating, recovery, nutrition is they start majoring in minors. They pick a minor thing and they make that a big issue and they start majoring in that. ये करोगे तो recover हो जाओगे. You have this, you will recover. No, just major in the majors. Just sleep well, eat clean. You'll recover well. Where you just immediately replenish your lost calories with a good. Again, that doesn't have to be a fancy protein shake or a this or that. You have 2 eggs or a banana and your normal khana or whatever you eat, whatever you like, you'll be fine. If you're balancing your meals out, spreading it throughout the day, you'll be fine. So just focus on that and try to sleep more. Again, this is me giving advice. I don't sleep enough. I know that for a fact. I try to do that, but sleeping and replenishing your calories as soon as you can. I think that these are the two things which will help you best in recovering.
Okay. So just one bit. So just trying to summarize your entire journey, Shahbaz, on this one. What are your what are the top 5 takeaways you want to give to the audience who wants to prepare for this demanding sport?
The first is, I would say, have a reason why you want to do it, because that will keep you going. Just give it a good thought. Think about why you want to do an Ironman. What do you want to get out of it? There could be a lot of different things. You want to get fitter. Maybe you want to travel the world through doing a race in different part of the world. Maybe that's your, whatever it is. Just have a thing that defines that why I'm doing this, because the days when things become difficult, that why is what is going to keep pushing you to go forward. Second one, in training, I would say build a very solid base. Do the boring stuff. and stay consistent. Consistency is probably the most important thing in training, I would say. Even if you can't do the hard work or the harder workout or whatever it is, just turning up and doing something on that day, I think that's a victory. Third, have a structure to your plan. I would again, it's best to get a coach and let the coach create that structure. But if you don't want to spend on a coach, I'd say you'll have to read and do a lot of homework in creating a program. But if you get a coach, have a structure, and then trust the process. Because uh, improvements are not going to happen overnight. You can't create a structure and say, okay, this week I did this, and next week I'm going to be 10% better. Maybe that 10% will come after 3 weeks, or maybe it can come next week. It depends, individual to individual. But trust the process, keep at it. And the last one I would say is enjoy the process. If you're not enjoying the process, just don't do it for the race day, because race days are not going to come very often. Unless you're a pro or a semi-pro, you're not going to do like 5-6 races in a year. You'll probably do one of a full distance Ironman, one maybe two if you become a really seasoned guy. But for the one race, if you're working hard the entire year, and if you're not enjoying the process, I don't think there's a point doing the race. You're better off doing something else, and try and enjoy the process. This is what happened with me. When someone says, why are you doing this? I said, I really enjoy this. I look forward to this. I look forward to the 5 hour bike ride or the long run or this or that. I don't think that यार ये कहाँ फंस गए, ऐसा नहीं है, क्योंकि no one's passed me in this. I chose to do this. And I can choose to leave it any day I want, but I don't want to. Because if you set a solid base and you start improving, once you start seeing the improvement in yourself, in your maybe time or energy levels, or because this eventually trickles down to your life as well. The energy you have, you say mentally strong. Mentally strong, you don't only get on the bike when there's no one around you. You get mentally strong in your daily life as well. If you face let's say, a sort of a difficult situation at work or home or whatever it is, the way you tackle it teaches you a lot. So just enjoy the process and stick with it. I think embrace it. It'll help you a lot.
And don't feel मैं की कर लिया, huh? It should be always in high spirits.
If you're feeling that, I think then it's not for you. You might feel that.
Exactly.
Some days everyone feels that यार कितने फंस गए. But once जहाँ भी आप फंस गए, once you finish it, if it's putting a smile on your face, then I think you're doing the right thing. But even after that, even after doing a long ride, you think, what the hell did I just do? Then I don't think you're enjoying it enough to continue. Then eventually your body will give up or your mind will give up. You stop it. But if you're enjoying it, you just want to keep going.
Great session today, Shahbaz. Thank you so much.
Absolutely loved it.
Yeah, it was lovely talking to you here. So I'll just summarize, some of the collectors that I have for the audience here today. So one is that there's a lot of self-motivation, determination to do this sport. That's number one, right? We've also today discussed about your experiences on running on different landscapes, whether it was your entire journey on Ladakh, which was your first, stint with the marathon, then New Zealand, which is like all totally a different experience. And then, of course, we spoke about your ultra run as well on the one race, 𝐂𝐸𝐴 Ultra. The gaining that we have today from your side is that you need to be slow and steady. You need to do 80% of your training, which is the less harder, and 20% which is the hard, which is a great input. Thank you so much for this.
Again, I would say you don't have to do this, but it's good to do it, especially in long distance.
No, I totally understand that, but I'm saying, see, how do we learn from each other is as the ethos of our particular program, which is 1 foot forward with Harmit by one race, is only this, that if I have to sign up tomorrow for taking triathlon, then who's going to be my guiding light? It's the people who are in this running group. So if it's going to work for you, and I'm sure it's going to work for most of us. Okay, so that's only the thing. So I would really take this forward as that, yes, slow and steady, Okay, that's
Absolutely, that is something
yeah,
I'd stick with. Even now, like let's say if I do another Ironman in the future, again my training I just keep it simple, slow, steady. The easy stuff, the 80% of the easy training, but the longer training, just keep turning up every day and keep at it. Yeah, for
great.
sure.
And then one of the key things was a smart investment,
Yeah,
right? And the last bit was eat clean and sleep well.
yeah,
So thank you so
for sure.
much,
Thank you,
Shahbaz,
sir.
for being. It was a great
It was
conversation with you today,
my pleasure. Thank you.
and it was really exciting to have you here. Now I think you're out for a personal engagement at Jaipur. And one of the
Yes.
observations I just made that when we started the conversation, it was pretty bright outside
Yeah, just
behind you,
yeah,
and it has gone
yeah.
dark. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you, sir.
being on the show with us today. And I
Thank you
hope
for
the
having me.
audience has
Thank you,
learned a lot
Shahbaz.
from you.
It was an insightful session. Thank you
Thank you,
for
sir.
being here,
Thank
Shahbaz.
you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Harmeet. You as well. What an insightful session. There's a lot to absorb, just not just for me, but for our audiences. So
Absolutely.
I think it was great. One foot forward with Harmeet is a lovely idea, and we hope to see you again next Saturday with the same session with same energy, and for our audiences to learn a lot. So stay tuned, guys. We are going to have this session again next week, Saturday, same time. And thank you, Harmeet. Thank you, Shahbaz, everybody for being here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Happy
you.
Lodi once again to all of you, and have a good
Happy
weekend.
Lodi. Yes,
Yep.
yes.
And
Happy
sign
Lodi,
up
guys.
for a 4 a.m.
Yeah.
run tomorrow morning, everyone. Keep running.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Keep running, guys. Keep
Thank you.
Okay.
running. Bye.
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 Thank you, guys. Thank you. Bye. Bye. So, guys, that was pretty much it about the session. I hope everybody enjoyed the session. They have taken something out of the session, and we would appreciate one race to keep launching such sessions and inviting insightful people. Thank you all. Have a happy Lodi. Enjoy your weekend. Cheers. Bye.